Pornography is probably the worst thing that's out there. Too many people get sucked in by it, and if you want to get over it, you need to work on yourself. Too many people use it for anxiety relief and many other things, and it needs to stop. My name's Nick Tabor. I'm a personal trainer, and I talk about this stuff because I lived through it. At the time of recording this, it is a Sunday, and I don't know when this video is going to go out, but I did a very deep meditation on what videos I should do next and what should I talk about. And I remember when I was at the leadership conference and for Evan Carmichael, he spoke about what you should do is talk about depression, anxiety. There's your best audience is you. You know, your best audience is that version of you in the most pain, that version of you in terror, or that version of you that's the most angry, that's the most anxiety ridden. So today I want to talk to that 15-year-old 16-year-old who was in the most possible pain. And I'm going to be honest with you, this is not something that comes up too often, but at this point, there is no reason why I should hold back. There is no reason why I shouldn't tell this story anymore. I was addicted to porn. Every once in a great while, I wake up after maybe I've had a really bad dream. I feel the exact same stress I did when I was 13, 14, 15 years old. And I automatically want to do something that I haven't done in many years. The internet is the worst for this. It's absolutely a horror show, because even if you type in Google and it says how to get over porn addiction, it will most likely come to a screen or come to a website, pornaddiction.com, which is a porn site. And this is not good. This is the worst ever. Like, that is the worst thing. I had a lot of issues when I was from the ages of 11 to 15. Right in those times, I considered suicide, I think 3 times. I lost one of the people in my life who was the best, like, growing up was my best friend. That was my grandfather. And he was dying of cancer and losing his mind. And everything that I'd say I want to be when I grow up was a result of him. Everything I've wanted to do was a result of what he did. I was inspired by that. And watching him lose his mind, lose everything, lose all of it. And my grandmother having extraordinary pain made me incredibly stressed, made me the worst, like, put me in the worst state of mind that I have ever done. And plus, you know, being a teenage boy, and at the time it was the late 90s when internet first, you know, as we know it, first came around. I remember very distinctly reading a magazine, and I'm not sure what it was, but it was Steven Tyler of the band Aerosmith, and there was a picture of him, and there was a caption, and said, the internet is all the rage. As soon as I get internet in the house, I'm going straight to sex.com. And I was reading it, and, my mom looked back and she says, you don't ever go to any of those sites. I don't want you to ever do any of that. And I'm like, okay, Mom, I understand. I understand. And, my parents weren't home. Like, what's this sex.com? Look at it. Oh my God, naked women. Oh my God, look at this. And the stress that I felt at that time left immediately. And, I get it. I guess it was the same thing, like, my grandparents, and not my grandparents, but you see it in some movies of a grandfather that had some playboys or somebody at the strip club, who went to the strip club and just didn't do anything. And okay, I looked into here, I figured, okay, that's a part of being a guy, and stuck with it. My parents found it and signed me up to see a counselor, and I talked with people, and I had to talk to somebody in school, I had to talk to somebody at some place about it, and it was, oh my God, like, I'm still embarrassed nearly 20 years later to say it out loud, but we're here to help. We're here to help. The worst part of it all was it drives you into secrecy. It drives you to hide things from people. And that ain't the worst part of it. And I'm going to be very, very honest as well. Like, once you are free of it, it sometimes is a constant struggle. I don't think people talk about this as much when, like, we talk about, people who are in AA, we talk about people who have overcome drug addiction, but this stays off screen. It's right here. It's off that way in America. We don't really think about all of it. Now, there are ways to tell you how I got over it and how I went through my thing, because when I realized I was gonna get married, and I had relapsed multiple times in my 20s and I think once in my 30s, and I had to explain to my wife that I was having a really, really horrible day, and she luckily understood. And my fear was that she was going to leave, and, but I took steps to work on it and realized, made her feel that it was a one-time thing. But what you've got to do is you've got to realize not only how it affects you, but how it affects everyone else. How it affects your loved ones, if you're in a relationship, how it can affect that relationship, not only sexually, but emotionally. How it can affect your relationship with everyday life. It wastes time. How it just gets worse and worse and worse, because one thing will not satisfy. And we learn that as, unfortunately, a lot of this, a lot of things that porn does is it allows, they want you to be 18 and above, but they want you to be young enough to be addicted early. And it's not good. It's the same as smoking was in the early, when I was a kid. Smoking, they had this guy, Camel Joe. And Camel Joe was this cartoon of a camel that supposedly attracted kids to cigarettes early. And, things of the Marlboro Man and advertising like that got kids addicted to cigarettes, the same thing happens. They're very, very, very easily accessible to everyone. And if you're in a consenting relationship and you watch it and everything is fine and, whatever, you do you, whatever. But this is what you need to do. Number one, don't hide it at all anymore. Tell friends, tell family, and realize it's a problem. Every phone right now has a great screen time feature. You can look at how much screen time you're spending and look at how much you're doing. Like, I'm really super busy every day, so I done that, and you're like, okay, you spent an hour or two when you could have done a morning routine, when you could have done other things instead of doing this. It hurts. It absolutely hurts when you see that and you realize you have better time in your life. If you're in a relationship, you need to be honest with your partner and say, I am struggling. I have issues. I have always done. I was lucky enough with my wife that I was firmly open. Even when we started dating, I said, I've had this issue for a very, very, very long time. And the way that life is, it's the way life is. So she was understanding, supportive, and, it gets worse. It days where it's harder than others. But like alcohol or anything else, there are days you take it one day at a time. That's number two. Every day you have to realize you're outside of this, that there's not more, that this is just useless time. This is just spending more time outside of what you want to do in your life. And you're not getting ahead. There's a calendar on the other side of this camera here that I put an X every day, and right now I'm doing a clean eating challenge, and for 3 weeks I haven't cheated at all, so every day I put an X when I eat very clean. What you need to do is get a calendar, put an X every day you don't watch porn. Every single day. And you just X it off, and you keep going, and it will get very, very, very painful when you don't do it. Like when you do it, rather, like when you succumb to it, like when you don't hit that X, it'll get very, very painful of what happened. Then examine what happens, what you did, like what actually happened. Third thing you want to do is get outside support. I saw a counselor for every week for almost 3 years, and this came up. How's this going? What are you doing? Where are you planning everything? And outside, people who were not personally invested in the fact that you needed to stop, but wanted to make sure you did what you did. 4, there are multiple parts to this. Talked about realize what you were, plan, seek outside help, get a routine that is almost feels like life or death when you don't do it. Like that makes you feel so incredibly bold, like during the times that you feel like you may need to do it. For me, it was early in the morning and late at night, both when I got up and when I went to bed. I get up every morning and I do 200 push-ups. I put a towel down on the floor to protect my hands, and I use that towel here and get your mind out of the gutter. It's a clean towel. This is something I had for my day job. Put it down here to protect my hands. blast 200 push-ups and my brain feels amazing, because physical activity is a really super good way to do it, because what happens is it hits that center of the brain that's the same as sex, that's the same as food, and gives you that same pleasure that porn does, that releases that euphoria, because you have to do that routine in order to do that, and it becomes a replacement for the bad activity every single day. Step 5 and the final one, get a support group. Who can you lean on? I lean on my wife. I lean on my wife a lot. There's a great page, it's called Man Cave. Look at them up, they are really, really good. You have to have those people who will understand, will hold you accountable. It takes months to overcome everything. It does not take it right away. It's not like, okay, I quit porn, I'm done. No, it takes a long time, and especially after you relapse, you're gonna have those moments where you need to fight again, like drug and alcohol addiction. This is a thing that needs to be addressed. All right, so covered multiple points here, and this is going to be so hard to post, because this has been a huge struggle a lot. Take care of yourself. It's okay. There's no shame in the situation that especially guys, a lot of guys have fallen into a situation like this. For depression, for anxiety, this is not the way to go. You're going to feel relief and you're not going to be stressed, but it's not going to last very long, and then you'll feel stress will turn to shame. And then that shame will turn to more stress, and it just builds onward and onward and onward. Now, you're human, okay? Last thing. Probably the longest video I will ever post. A one talking speech. Take good care of yourself. Be good to yourself. If it happens, you fall back on a plan. If you're struggling, you fall back on a plan. You're not a monster. You're a good person, okay? But get help. There are several resources. I will put some down on the links below that may help you. Okay? Be good. Take care of yourself. And be happy. And as always, through the journey that you have, and through the journey that I have, if I can belt out this video and one more person can stop, I've done my job. It's been a long journey to this moment, and we still keep climbing. I love you all. Take care of yourself, and as always, we climb.